Good morning, everybody. Today we'll be discussing something that's been a wonderful revelation in my life. It's called spiral dynamics. Spiral dynamics speaks about different levels of consciousness that are represented by 8 different colors: beige, purple, red, blue, orange, green, yellow, indigo. Spiral dynamics was based mainly on the teachings of Clare. However, he worked with a lot of other professors who did research as well. Clare was a psychiatry teacher in universities in New York in the 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s. Was an amazing person, and the reason why he kind of delved into these levels of consciousness was because it disturbed him, the dichotomy and the dissension in the field of psychiatry and psychology in terms of what was the best way to approach people we're dealing with. You know that Freud did more psychoanalysis. He believed in going back into the patient's past. Then you have people like Rogers and Maslow who believe more in the self-empowerment of people and the self-actualizing man. And then you have the lower level psychiatrists and psychologists that really just dealt with behavior and enforcing people's behavior and getting them into rigid sets of behavior. And he didn't understand why did certain people do better with certain forms of psychology and certain people with other forms of psychology. And he began research really with his students, unbeknownst to them. And he basically began to slowly develop, which first were 4 levels, and then went to 5, 6, and 7, and eventually 8 levels of consciousness. So the first level, which beige, it's in spiral dynamics. It wasn't called spiral dynamics by Dr. Graves. However, the levels of consciousness relate to the colors. Beige is the level of struggling with human existence, struggling to survive. And as we see even nowadays in our world, we have countries that are literally struggling to survive. It's a challenge to find even a place to live sometimes. Even in America, you have problems of homelessness and whatnot. So that's beige. The next level up was, if someone's not worrying about necessarily where they're going to live and that, it's purple, which purple has a lot to do with irrational beliefs. And so a lot of purples, they're like cultures that have tribal customs and whatnot. And purple is kind of, it's believing in outside forces. It's not a very empowering level, because it's kind of saying there's gods and there's forces outside of me, and I need to appease those forces and serve them if I want to just survive. It also has a lot to do with survival, and more, he likened it to the level of survival, a struggle for food. And then the next level that comes out of purple is when someone in that culture or tribe says, I'm really done with this, and I want to get some power for myself. I'm done with serving the collective. And someone in the red says, I don't believe in all these gods, and he won't necessarily say that overtly. So a red is when someone kind of becomes a power god, and he says to those people that are purple, he says, you want to do well? You come serve me. I'll take care of you. And so reds are really, you call them power gods, and there are people that they are manipulators all of the time, and they could kind of convince you that you serving them is in your greater good, which is very interesting. The next level up is blue, when blue is rules and believing in an afterlife and believing that there's a greater power. It's kind of similar to purple, but a little different, that it's more organized, and it's a lot of organized religions, and it's kind of the development of after red, because a red may say, wow, there may be something that's beyond me. So the red may serve in this religion or so because he believes in the afterlife, and it kind of also serves the lower people because they say, I might be suffering in this life for reward later because there's an afterlife. So Clare Graves actually called that sacrifice now for reward later. The next level after blue is orange. When someone in that world says, you know what, I'm tired of all this sacrifice now for reward later. Clare called it sacrifice now for reward now, kind of in a sense, or express, no, actually it's express self with for reward now, kind of, you know. And Orange is the business for profit model. Orange, they serve people because they're bringing them services and businesses, but they're getting profit out of it. So a lot of people don't like that because why you have to profit, you know? Say, hey, I'm giving you a service, you're getting benefit out of me, so I should profit. So that's the Orange philosophy. The next level is Green, which happened, Clare Graves says, in the 1950s and 60s. It was a great shift in the US and the consciousness of going from Orange to Green. Because Green is more about the collective. It's more about seeing the common in all of us, saying all of us are equal, taking care of everybody equally. And that's really beautiful, because Green really will try to take care of everyone and make this world a better place. The limitations that are in Green, that Clare Graves said as well, is that sometimes it's very rigid, and it's only believing that this is the way and we are all equal, and at times that may not be true. And Clare Graves actually says, for instance, a lot of times a green and a red will get together because a green loves to try to save a red. They see the pain and suffering in the red and they just want to save them. And it may end up being a really abusive relationship between those people because the red just loves the green. The red is like, ha ha ha, this is a field day, this is a picnic for me, I'm eating this up. Because the green will just continue to cater to their behavior. And it actually says that this may actually find itself in the dynamics and relationships between countries. That you may have one country that's more of a green and one country that's more of a red. The red is energy poor, the green is energy rich, and the red country is just completely abusing the green country because they see that they'll take it. And so that's Green. The next level, which he discovered later, was Yellow. And Yellow, it's called flex flow. Yellow is the ability to choose a level of consciousness which is needed at the moment. So sometimes the yellow person may be dealing with a red person, and sometimes the best way to deal with the red person is actually by using their behavior. Because once the red sees I'm actually not going to get my way, they'll actually realize, wow, I got to stop behaving like this in the situation because my behavior is not going to fly in the situation. So that's a way to empower oneself when dealing with the red sometimes, that you know what, you just got to stand firm, draw the line and say, no, you're not going to get what you want because you're wrong in this situation. And that's the ability to be yellow. So Clare actually, he used his students in his research, and that's how he actually codified these levels of behavior. And something that he did was he grouped the students that were in the same level of consciousness together without them even realizing it, and he made them do exercises. This was part of their course curriculum. He made them do exercises like problem solving situations. And a really interesting thing that he found was that the yellows found solutions to problems that were better and worked faster, and they came to their solutions faster than all the other groups combined. And he said that's an interesting fact that shows that when we actually have a deep care and concern for others, we are going to find solutions faster and better solutions faster. And that's the way our brain works when we reach these higher levels of consciousness, because our brain is kind of looking for solutions for mankind because we care for humankind. The next level that he found way later in the research was called indigo turquoise. And this is already bordering on a really, truly spiritual level. He says that the people that are on an indigo and turquoise level, they could actually go into and out of different levels of consciousness at will. And he actually observed it. He said it was amazing. So that's the highest level, is indigo turquoise. And he says that in his writing, he says that we may even come onto deeper levels of consciousness because man is always evolving. Humankind is a problem-solving mechanism in our nature. We found a solution for this problem, we go on to the next problem. So Spiral Dynamics, they have a website, it's called spiraldynamics.org. It's a pretty cool website. Clare Graves' website is Clare, that's C-L-A-R-E-W, Graves, Graves.com. And what's great about his website is you can find a lot of his teachings and writings on his website. His books, you cannot find a lot of them, unfortunately. I looked in libraries in California. There's one library in Northern California that has a few of his books. On Amazon, I purchased one of his books. The list price was $19.95. It was over $60 on Amazon. That's how rare his books are. I read that book about 3 times. It's just amazing. What's great about this is that you could really bring this into your organization, into your team, into your family, because you may realize that someone in your team or your organization may really be a red or may really be a blue, and sometimes that philosophy might just not fit with your organization's philosophy, because you're going to try to behave with, like I said, with the red and the green way, and that doesn't work with the red because they have more duplicity in their behavior, unfortunately, because a red is self-seeking, that's just what it is. And he actually says that psychiatrists, psychologists, if they're like on a green and they're working with patients that are red or blue, they can do it, but it really won't last for so long because it's really not going to be fun for them. He recommends that if you're green, work with people that are level of green. If you're a yellow, work with people in yellow. If you're a blue, work with people that are on level of blue. And that's fine, because we may be at a few levels at a time, but usually the levels are very chunked together. He says that it's 1, 3, 5, 7. So beige, red, orange, and yellow are 1, 3, 5, 7. And the problems that may be found in the behavior of those people are more impulsive behavior. They act on impulse without thinking sometimes. And then it's 2, 4, 6, 8, which is the purple, blue, green, and indigo. And the problems that may be found in their behavior is more compulsive behavior. They'll be stuck in more rigid behavior, not as much acting out towards others. It's more just kind of acting in that they can't get out of a self-limiting behavior. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you find a lot of resources in it. Please, if you have any questions or comments, you can email me, natanakabalaart.com. You could comment on the YouTube page or on the Facebook page. Hope you guys are all having a great day.